CEOs who own it, they are ultimately very vulnerable in the right way when you own it.
Yep.
CEOs who can't own it are not vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
It's a black and white line. Welcome back from Grit to Growth. I'm Jennifer DiMotta.
I'm Mark Hasebroock. Greetings.
Sweet. I didn't have to introduce him. This is great. We're going to talk about CEO effectiveness today. One of the ways I want to kick it off is, so why does a CEO get paid the big bucks,
Right.
Mark?
Yeah, exactly. You get asked that a lot. You know, with early stage companies, they often don't get paid at all for some time. And until the proof is actually shown, measured proof, does that conversation come into the equation. And then there's always that, okay, now I didn't get paid for the last fill in the blank.
Yeah.
Now I deserve to be paid more. But it's all on, to me, the effectiveness of the CEO outkicking what your expectations were. And so their effectiveness is so key to the team building, to the product, to the customer happiness, to not losing customers, to all the things that you measure. I always sit back and go, we're probably not paying this guy or this gal enough.
We are Nebraskans.
Yeah.
So obviously I can only speak for myself, a Warren Buffett fan.
Yeah.
One of my favorite Warren Buffett quotes, there are several, is, and I'm reading this so that I don't get it wrong here, is the CEO gets paid to take responsibility when things go wrong.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
I love that. Yeah.
Right? The CEO. So that one sentence alone explains why the CEO is both a misunderstood role
Right.
and a misplayed out role.
Yep.
So we want to talk about a couple ways that you can identify if you're the CEO, are you being as effective as you can be? Or, when you're observing the CEO, let's say you're on a board, how do you ensure that you've got the right CEO, the highly effective CEO for the business? And we both serve on boards, so we talk about this quite a bit. We also work with the CEOs of all of our clients.
Mm-hmm.
And so that, that's our job, and we take it very seriously to help that CEO be as effective as possible. One of the things that I have brought up several times is I believe the number one way to see if a CEO is going to be highly effective or not is how much ownership they take in the business, how much ownership they take to the results, how much ownership they take to the leadership team's effectiveness, just how much ownership they take across the board.
How does that present itself to you? Or
yeah. I was going to ask
it?
you the same question.
Yeah.
What have you seen as far as how do you know when you're observing true ownership, or even the opposite, I guess.
The ones that over-communicate and that are
Yeah.
just super proactive with good and bad news.
Yep.
And then with solutions. And then, am I looking at this the right way?
Yep.
That's the role of a board, an investor, guidance, coaching, whatever it happens to be. But the best ones are the ones that come out and say, okay, we got a problem.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm going to not necessarily quote Warren again. But this will be my last Warren reference. But my second favorite thing that Warren has said is something around the fact that you are a fantastic leader when you take full ownership of the failures, but you give out full credit to the leadership team.
Yeah.
He said it a lot more eloquently, but that's what I like to look for. I like to look for a CEO that really is taking full ownership of the downside, essentially, and then gives out credit to the upside, to the team, and doesn't have any issues or ego or anything in regards to that.
People thrive on that too, because they're allowed to then excel.
Yeah.
The ones that listen twice as much as they talk are rare, but boy, when you find that, or they're just powerful in what they actually do say, because their actions are way more instrumental than their words. The ones that drone on and on and on, I think inside I just kind of go, I think there's a problem here.
Oh, absolutely.
Because they're not saying anything and they're just filibustering and it's 40-page decks of stuff. But the ones like I think I shared with you the other day, a CEO called me and he said, there's a new AI technology that is mind-blowing. I said, okay, tell me about it. Gosh, it started out as Moltbot and then Claude, and now they had to change their name again. But nevertheless,
I saw that.
It's a very powerful and interesting technology. Bottom line is, he said, I just want to let you know that I'm letting our engineering team go. And he's got 6 engineers. He said, in 10 days, I reprogrammed everything that we were building. I did it myself, and I'm not an engineer. This is a big problem. These people are going to be upset, but I'm handling it. And here's why, and here's what it's going to do for the business. That's effective leadership.
Yeah, absolutely.
Versus just saying, hey, let's stick with the team. We're going to keep building. We're going to keep doing this and blah, blah, blah. He's like, this is an inflection point and we're changing.
And let's be clear. We're not talking about owning every single thing, because one of the things that we truly believe in is a CEO needs to decide what they're delegating and what they're owning. And it needs to make a lot of sense for the CEO role. So your ownership is in the results, not in the how, not in necessarily even the who, because for some large organizations, you may identify a C-level who, but there's a lot of who's below that. Yep. It's really the results, owning whether the results were achieved or not. And I think another thing I found is CEOs who own it. Here's something I really think is very definitive. They are ultimately very vulnerable in the right way when you own it. Yep. CEOs who can't own it are not vulnerable. It's a black and white line. Yep. What have you seen there? You agree?
Absolutely, yeah. And if it's blame casting, or if it's, we've always done it this way, or this is something that we're just going to keep doing just because, it then just gets bogged down. The ones that act, I guess the ones that have urgency and make decisions are also the most effective. Instead of ones that say, okay, we're going to form a committee and we're going to look at this and I'll get back to you in 6 weeks, that type. There's nothing wrong with being methodical, but it's also so important to just act.
Yes. Actually, that's our next one.
Good
or
segue.
At least great segue. So Andy Grove says, only the paranoid survive.
That's good. Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Look that up if you want to know more there. Having a comfortability in making quick decisions is really hard, but highly effective CEOs make good, quick decisions. Yep. What have you seen there? I know you work with a ton of CEOs in the portfolio, so tell us what you've seen there.
The ones that always start with the conclusion and then back that up with the why. We're going to invest $1 million in this company, this technology, this product. Here's the result we're looking for. Here's why I'm committed to it, and here's why I need your support. Versus, all right, I'm going to walk through, 40-page deck, like I said, and at the end is a conclusion. Here's what I need. Here's why we're doing it, and we need to do it, and we'll know by March 1st if this is working or not. And I own it. Let's go. I need your support.
Right.
Then if you need to question something, it's like, hold on a sec. Let me understand, what is the return on this, or how do you know? Let's discuss the measurability, but we're moving. We're doing this.
Many CEOs that we work with. So here's how we work. Often when we are going to engage with a CEO and thus the company, we like to do an assessment. Our job is to get in a little deeper and really seek to understand the business, the people, everything. We often find pretty quickly the bad egg. So we may have a sit down with the CEO on whatever that bad egg is.
Yeah.
The CEO already knew, just hasn't pulled the trigger on dumping the bad egg.
Right.
Could
That's
be
good.
a bad strategy, could be a bad, just not the right person in the right seat on the bus. It could be a poor tool. But when we bring it up, it's like, yeah, I've known that for months. Yeah, I agree with you. So if you are looking to be a more effective CEO, making decisions quicker is a really important aspect to being more effective. Everyone is probably going to be like, phew, I'm so glad you got rid of that strategy, or, oh, thank God you got rid of that person.
Yeah.
You know, because those types of things tend to drag. I'm sure many of our listeners have heard, you know, the weakest link in your business is as strong as your business is.
Yeah.
Bottom line.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
I talked to someone yesterday, just said, you know, if you didn't do anything for 90 days and you still had the bad egg, tell me what would happen. And she goes, yeah, I would not be happy. I said, do you think that's your answer then? Or do you think you should continue on? No, I need to do something.
Did you notice a rotten egg in there?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's really been smelling. It's been bad.
They smell.
It's been bad. And it's kind of been obvious, but it's just trying to reframe it, you know, so she could make a decision.
Yeah.
Versus what we try and do with our clients is we don't want to be the ones that say, here's what you need to do.
Yeah.
It's so important that we frame all of this around real measurable data, action items, but then they own what they have to do to make it happen.
Yeah, stay as objective as possible is what we strive to do. Sometimes we have to just point it out.
Yeah.
But that's not the first pass for us. So I was working with a founder / CEO, and I observed a number of her kind of direct reports, and that her business, so this CEO is running a luxury level business.
Mm-hmm.
Luxury level has a vanity to it.
It's a product or it's a service?
It's a service.
Okay.
And you need to have a certain kind of aesthetic with it. So I'm observing her business development in the way that this individual speaks and her results and everything about it. And I said, so is this person the right person for your business development? Huge, important aspect of your business. Mm-hmm. And she said, you know, I haven't felt that for quite some time, for 6 months, you know, and I thought, okay.
Yeah.
How do we get off the dime there?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you didn't do anything, would we be sitting here in 90 days and you'd be ecstatic, or would you be like upset?
And it's so obvious in the results.
And so let's do something about it.
So let's move to the last one. One of my favorite experts, Peter Drucker. The most important thing in decision making is not analysis, but courage.
Yep.
It is hard to be a CEO. You're making some decisions that you're sticking your neck out there.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got to have the right level of courage to be able to make decisions.
Yeah, so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's oftentimes you can just get paralyzed with data and, well, I need just a little bit more information. But what we often say is, look, gun to your head, decide.
Yep.
Just what's your gut tell you now? You've got 2/3 of the information you truly need. Just decide.
So
and
we talked about velocity of decisions already, so we don't want to hit you over the head with that. Yep. That is kind of important. What you just said is gut.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you were put in that role for a reason. Your gut usually tells you the right answer. Mm-hmm. Now, do you need to validate that sometimes with, you know, either us or some of their right hands? Yes. Mm-hmm. But your gut is often pretty spot on.
Yep.
Yeah.
The best leaders just can communicate the vision for where they're going in a clear, concise way, is like you're 5 years old, and do it with anybody and everybody all the time. And people want to follow that person. Like, God, I believe in what we're doing. Here's why we're doing it. Here's where we're going. Here's the team. Constant, upbeat, positive, but they decide and they have that courage. They also, maybe you find this more than I do, but they have imposter syndrome, which always surprises me.
Oh, yeah, all the time.
They're just like upbeat and they've got everything nailed, but it's sort of, they come to you and say, I'm not sure I know what I'm doing.
And that's why we're here, because it does, courage can live on the outside and sometimes it doesn't always live on the inside.
Yeah.
And we help them, sort of the inside job of that is confidence. The outside job of that is courage.
Yeah.
And so we help them build that confidence by saying, you are thinking along the right lines. You are. I remember when I was at Sports Authority, I mean, I ran e-commerce, but in a CEO-esque type role. I mean, I was left on an island for sure. and that was actually very good. But we took an employment survey, and the number one thing that the employees said that were there was, we don't know where we're going. We have no vision, no strategy. Now, this was 90 days in on my tenure, and I read that very clear and thought, that's my job. My job is to help create clarity about the long road, where we're going and how, and kind of how we're going to get there, but not, detail.
Yep.
And by the next round of our engagement survey, we were the highest engaged department there was in that company because we had that nailed.
Because you have it down. That gives you that enthusiasm to just generate excitement around the brand, where you're going. All people need to know, so what am I supposed to be doing? Am I doing it right? How can I do it better? And do I believe in where we're headed?
Yep.
And the ones that don't, you need to quietly remove them. They're
That's
just
right.
not non-believers.
So hopefully you got a lot out of this. Remember, CEOs take ownership. They make decisions quickly, and they use their gut and take courage when they make decisions.
Right.
So
Trust your gut.
trust your gut. Have a good one.